eventually you get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. Joining me are my co-hosts, Tyler Reed.
Work it! High kick? I don't know anything about what we're going to be talking about today.
And Sean Evans.
Basically, he's gonna f*** it up.
Oh, no! Explicit.
He didn't even get the joke, so we can just keep going on that one.
And our guest this week is media scholar and RuPaul's Drag Race expert, Mychal Shanks. Mychal, thanks for being here.
Hello, I'm the diversity hire.
Well, this week, category is lip sync for your life. Tyler, if people want to submit a category to the show, where can they do that?
Hey, everybody, if you want to submit your own challenge, you can DM us on Instagram and Twitter at NoRepeatPod, or you can always email us at norepeatpod@gmail.com. Thanks so much.
So this week we're paying tribute to the long-running Logo/VH1 competition reality show RuPaul's Drag Race, and we are picking songs to lip sync for our life, which is the elimination ritual on RuPaul's Drag Race. To give some background, I want to turn to Mychal, who has done academic research on Drag Race and also watched every single season, plus Untucked and the international spin-offs. Mychal, for our listeners who aren't familiar, can you give like a crash course in what RuPaul's Drag Race is?
I can. So RuPaul's Drag Race is a competition show focused on drag queens. If you don't know what drag is basically the art of dressing up as another, I will say, because now the form has transitioned. It was mainly known, and thanks to RuPaul, was first known to the public as gay men dressing up as women, as female impersonators. But now, even with the new season, we have it was created by trans people, just so you know. And now we have non-binary, we have cis women, and all these wonderful people under the queer umbrella, or even straight, who do drag. And so the show is basically, it feels like a fever dream with a lot of glitter, but it is basically a competition show that, as you mentioned, Taylor, was on Logo originally, then moved to VH1. And it is, each week, a queen is eliminated after a course of competitions, whether that be a musical, which we had this past episode, was dancing, there's acting, all these types of challenges that they will do to prove that they are the next best drag queen to be under RuPaul's wings, if you will. So that's kind of just an overview of what the show is and what it does. And its cultural legacy is too long probably for this podcast, so I will not go too much into it. But it has now really been a staple for the queer community as for visibility representation for us. So,
and kind of a complicated legacy, because
ooh, yes.
Not only is the show, it's a reality show, so it's inherently kind of reductive, but RuPaul, we hate to love RuPaul. She's a complicated queen.
Yeah, that frackin' RuPaul. Yeah, she's very complicated. The new jokes are that about her fracking, but she has had kind of mishaps with the trans community. She said that basically being on hormones is like being on steroids for athletes. So there's a whole thing. If you want to look up RuPaul and train flag, it is worth the look, the Google search. But yes, it is very complicated. The show has been called racist. It's been called sexist. It's been called transphobic. It is, there's a lot. there is a lot. If you just do a quick Google search and probably scandal of Drag Race, there will be a lot to say. And even past contestants have talked about their experiences on the show. and not so great, I will say. If you look up Carmen Carrera, who was one of the trans women on the show, and other people, so miss RuPaul.
But I think the thing that ultimately draws us back to RuPaul is it is kind of like the gay Olympics.
Yes. Yes.
It's this annual event where the whole community comes together and watches the same thing week to week. And, there are complicated feelings about it. Sometimes we love it, sometimes we hate it, but you always kind of have to have an opinion on it because people around you are going to be talking about Drag Race. And unfortunately this year, Tyler is the black sheep of our podcast because Sean's family have roped him into watching, and Mychal and others in my life have roped me into finally following this season all the way through as it airs. I've watched the show in the past, but in dribs and drabs. And of course, Michael's been watching it forever, so it feels especially prescient this year. I don't know if it's just because we're all at home during COVID, but it feels like this season has been a real sensation again in a way that it hasn't been for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think any media that's made in COVID times right now is super fascinating to me. I don't know if like anyone else has seen this happen, because I watch a lot of reality TV, especially TLC. So if you ever want to talk about 90 Day Fiance, please ring my line. But it's like really interesting, like how we are joining together and all this, and how it's been spreading with RuPaul over like the past season to the current situation, how they're dealing with it.
Yeah, so for those who aren't familiar, this season has been kind of different. They've been limiting the amount of contestants in one place at one time. They've been splitting them off into subgroups. They haven't had as many guests as they usually have. The judges all sit behind plexiglass barriers. Like, it's very visibly a different show. But at the end of the day, it's still Drag Race. There's still jokes, there's still commentary, there's still ridiculous outfits, and of course, there's still lip syncing. So I wanna get into lip syncing and talk about our song picks, but for everybody on the panel tonight, how did you arrive at your lip sync for your life song? What was your method or your process here? Untuck your drag, if you will.
When are we gonna? You wanted us to come up with a character as well, correct? Is that?
Yes, you needed to come up with a drag name and a drag character. We'll talk about those as we talk about our picks.
Okay.
You can give some teaser details, though.
Sure. So, I mean, my song pick was completely based on the character that I had developed, or like the meme that, like the concept that I had kind of found and decided to base it around. Because I've kind of realized that the conventions of Drag Race are that it needs to be like the drag persona needs to be some sort of like parody, or the name needs to be some sort of like funny haha pun in some way, or it needs to be like pop culture related. So like I kind of went like all in on that. And so I made like a very direct reference there for my character. And so then I came up with the character, and then I decided what I want my song to be. And I really just said, like, my mantra for it was like, I needed my song to be a threat. Like, it needed to just be like violence. You like hurting? Pain. And so, because that is kind of like what the character would want in their performance for their life. And so, and just as like as a general statement, I think for picking this song, I feel like for me, I kind of already was picking Drag Race songs like this entire summer. I already like,
you were out here with your Kim Petras. We saw you.
Yeah, I picked a Kim Petras song. I have a Jessie Ware song. I wanted to pick a Dua Lipa song. We did a whole Lady Gaga episode. I covered my bases this entire summer. So like, I don't even know what I'm even gonna pick. And like, I just looked at the list of all the songs that had already been chosen, and I kind of didn't want to step on any toes there. I didn't want to pick something that's already been chosen in a previous Drag Race. So like, nothing that I had already picked. And nothing that had already been picked for the show, and something that had to be a threat. So, like, it kind of was a very specific frame of reference I had to view. And so, in some ways, it was kind of limited, because I could have picked something that was way out of character for the show. Like, I could have picked an Arch Enemy song, and that would have been not good at all. We don't need any dirty metal vocals in my Sing for My Life, right? That's my lip sync for my life. That's not gonna happen. So yeah. So I
I don't know what you're talking about. Pantera totally fits with drag.
Yeah.
Well, those are audible lyrics.
Miss RuPaul. Yeah, that's what RuPaul's blasting behind the scenes. Just
Yeah. That was my decisions.
Yeah, so that, Tyler, I think, like, since you are new to Drag Race, I'm excited to hear more about your character because it reminds me a lot of this one drag queen who was on called the Vixen. And if you haven't seen that season, her entry, because yeah, you saw the first episode, so they come in and they'd say a little like line and then pose for an awkward like full minute as the camera gets like different angles of them. And so when she came in, her first words were, "I'm ready to fight." So I hope that this is the direction you're going with your character, is that the song you chose is a threat. So I hope you're ready to fight, Tyler.
Yes.
See, I'm like Tyler. I also developed a drag queen persona and then picked a song around it. And I think it was partially inspired by some recent challenges on the show, because I've been really enjoying the like themed challenges that they've been doing. They've been really heavy on like visual categories for the queens this year. And so I wanted a queen who was really focused on a specific aesthetic, kind of like a Tina Burner for those who are watching this season, where Tina's always in red, orange, and yellow and everything is fire themed. Like, I don't appreciate that particular theme, but I do think there's something to like your drag persona kind of inhabiting a space or living in a world. I'm thinking of like oh my gosh, I can't think her name. It's like Miss Richmond 1986. I don't remember her exact name, but it's a drag queen who travels the country performing as a high school girl who won a town beauty contest in 1986, and all of her shows are like her pageant acceptance. I'll try and find the link for show notes. Miss Richfield, that's what it is. But she was on Talk Show the Game Show for a while, which was a fun reality show on, I think, E! And so I was kind of going with that. I'm like, what is a character that lives in their own little world? And I wanted to like build a world for this drag character that they would inhabit. And so then it was just a matter of like picking songs that I feel like fit within the aesthetic bounds of my character.
That's kind of similar to how I based my song too, was kind of what I wanted aesthetically from myself / my character. So similar vibes, Taylor. I don't have very much to add, but yeah, like aesthetic was a very heavy reason for why I picked what I picked for this week.
I think similar to that was how I got my song. Like, in watching this season and having some exposure to the show, I feel like that's one of the effective strategies, is to kind of find a pop idol or icon or something that you can... I think this season has been maybe a little bit different than that. That I feel like there's not many of the queens, maybe I'm not aware of it, that don't really follow... Like, they're their own character. They're their own queen. They're not trying to be archetype, if that's the correct term. Whereas, like, my queen is an archetype. I just went for it because I was like, everybody knows this person. I feel like there was a challenge already this week or 2 weeks ago on Drag Race when they did the little movie montages or the awkward holiday. The RuPaul Mark challenge. That's what it is. Sorry. And they...
Oh, no.
Yes, the RuPaul Mark Channel Holiday Movies Challenge.
And they have, like, all these classic lines from movies and different, like, cultural things. And it's funny. I will admit that I didn't really know any of them. But when, like, I forget who, like, really got... I mean, Candy doesn't know anything. I feel so... They always put her on the spot when they're like, oh, Candy, do you know who this is? And Candy's like, yes, no. I mean, totally, yeah. I think that's like a direct quote from Friday's episode, but...
When RuPaul asked Candy Muse, what's the difference between Diana Ross and Gloria Gaynor? And Candy Muse says, well, one has long, flowing mahogany hair, and the other one's dead.
So, I don't know. I guess that was my strategy. I tried to find somebody that I identify with. Like if I was going to take on a drag persona, like who would I kind of model it after? Because I'm not that creative. And that's what I went for. I was like, this is kind of the influences that I want to have, and I'm going to put them all into Moira Rose.
And your little drag babies. Well, who wants to go first this week?
I don't know what I'm doing. I want to go first.
Tyler wants to get it out of the way.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
All right, Tyler, we need your drag name and your song, please.
All right, so I have an extra visual component, because I have to give the backstory. So
you can give it after your pick, but I need to know.
Sure. My drag queen's name is Lady Umami, which is, so you could say like umami, but it's a play on umami, the type of taste, the meaty taste.
Not as funny if you explain the joke. What's your song?
And my song is Heads Will Roll by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Never has something been so bad, and yet I can see it working so well. Like
when Taylor just saying "shut up" and just like it's so good, just shut up.
So Lady Umami is roughly based off Lady Dimistrasu from the new the game that's coming out called Resident Evil Village, in which she is a 9'6" vampire woman that the internet has just blown up with excitement for, because she's tall, she's busty, and she's gonna rip your throat out. And so my entire idea is that Lady Umami is more or less like a fan OC of a character in this world or whatever. She's definitely a vampire, she's definitely tall, and she's definitely gonna step on you. And so that is sort of like the vibe I wanted to have, because I'm a very timid and meek person, and so I wanted my persona to be like this, like sort of like like inverse of myself. And so I kind of just wanted to play in that space. And so Heads Will Roll, in this specific version, this remix version, is much more upbeat, it's much more hyped than the regular version. And so just watching the first episode of this Drag Race, it was very watching the lip sync for your life, there's a lot of moments where you're just kind of dancing your heart out. You're just doing as much as you can just to have as much flair as possible. And I feel like there's a lot of really good moments in this song where it's just sort of like lots of good hand movements and lots of just like really energetic poses I could be doing. And I mean, of course, I'm also going to be wearing these huge ass heels because I am not 9 foot tall. So like, I'm just going to be having the most like elevated heels possible. So I'm not going to be able to move that fast. So it's going to be a lot of hands. And I said I wanted my song to be a threat, and she's like, heads will roll. Heads, they're gonna roll on the floor, and I'm gonna take my big knife blade hand and just slice up the competition.
I love this for you. This particular remix, this 8-track remix, came up when I was running the other day, and it's just so much more powerful than the original version, which I also enjoy. But there's something about the way that he introduces more synths and he cuts up Karen O's vocal to just make it kind of unpredictable and weird that I also think would make it more fun to lip sync. Like, there's something about the weird vocal effects and the like repetition of words that I feel like you could really do some fun character faces with, which is a big part of lip syncing. Like, you got to be able to do weird expressions, and it's got a propulsive enough beat. Like, it's not so fast that you can't strut to it, but it's got enough movement to it and enough of a backbeat that you could do some voguing or do some like more intricate choreography if you had to. So yeah, I think this is a really good pick. I'm impressed for somebody who's new to Drag Race. You did really well.
Yeah, like the song's amazing. My one question for you, because re-listening to it, I like remember it like, and then re-listening to it today, I was like, oh my god, like these vocals are going to be very hard to lip sync to, especially when it's like splicing it. So like because I always love one thing about lip sync that I always love is what things people lip sync to. So do they lip sync to the ad libs? Do they repeat like the underlying like chorus? Like I'm very like curious about like what people actually choose to like pause to actually sing. And so like listening to this song, I was like, oh my, like Tyler, I can like the dancing, I'm like, you're gonna have down, but like the actual like vocals, I was like, ooh, you're gonna make some choices, and I'm very excited to see what those choices are.
I think there's a certain amount of chaos because it is going to be with another person at the same time. And, like, I'm like, maybe I'm gambling a little bit. I'm like, there's this section where they're repeating literally the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, I'm going to count. I'm going to remember how many there is. And if that person messes up, I'm going to get them. I'm going to nail them. Because they're not going to remember, but I'll remember.
Yeah, you have very many opportunities for death drops in this. Like,
oh,
so start
yeah.
practicing now. Get ready, start stretching, because there is one queen I think that you could definitely base this off of. Her name's Kennedy Davenport. She's a dancing queen, and if you haven't seen her, please do. She actually like is the only one who jumped off the stage during a lip sync. So like I think you could like really do some show-stopping stuff with like the way like the beat goes for this song.
I think it's a wonderful song. I think it's perfect for your character and you, and sometimes I wonder, like when I was listening to everybody's song just in general, I wondered if it would actually make it on the show, because it always kind of like I feel like they must know a little bit what song kind of is going to get picked. I feel that about like some of the costuming too, is that they must have some understanding of, okay, you know, you're going to be there for 2 weeks. There's going to be this many challenges, blah, blah, blah. And I guess too, this picks up on my insecurity because I feel like I don't know that much about music, even though I do this podcast. I'm like, I don't know. There's so much music out there.
We're music enthusiasts, Sean.
But no, this is fantastic. I love the remix that you picked. I think that it's really dancey. It hasn't come up on my workout playlist, but I'm definitely going to put it on there because I feel like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs they can be a little bit too emotional sometimes, which is good. I like that about them. But taking that back and making them fun to listen to, especially like this would be awesome to roller skate to with a bunch of like cool light effects. I would love that. That's exactly how I saw this one playing out for me, and I was like, this song is so cool. This remix is so good. So I'm excited this is going to be on the playlist.
Well, who's next up to lip sync for their life?
I'll go next.
All right, Sean, what do you have for us?
So this week I chose...
Drag name.
Oh, all right. So my drag name is Shauna Lana Ding Dong. Which is a play on words in that it's just my name plus Lana Ding Dong. And I guess I'm the Lana Ding Dong. There was an alternate which was Shauna Del Rey, but to people who have listened to this for a long time, you know that I had that as my Twitter handle for a minute, or not Twitter handle, my Instagram handle, and I ended up changing it back because I was like, this is a little embarrassing. And it's not as fun as Shauna Lana Ding Dong. But that said, my choice... I just love saying Shauna Lana Ding Dong.
More time.
Shauna Lana Ding Dong.
There you go. Beautiful.
This week I chose Blondie, Call Me. So, I think this song is super catchy personally. I remember hearing it a lot growing up because my parents raised me on a diet of classic rock. So it was always there. I think what I also like about this song is it's only like two minutes long. So you basically can capture your audience's attention. Not that you don't have it but you gotta like, my nightmare would be to be on stage and have like a musical interlude where I have to dance because I can't. So I have to go like, this is strategy for me. I have to go hard on like doing the lyrics, being bold, and then getting the hell off as soon as I can, like leave them before they miss you. That's what, like, right, you gotta go.
You're a sprinter. You're sprinting it.
My style influences are probably more along the like Madonna, Blondie route, but with like a nice touch of Molly Rankin. I don't know, you guys might be familiar, maybe everybody might be familiar with Molly Rankin. She's a singer of Always. It's just a band that I really love. I'm going to post a picture real quick. But she kind of has that same Blondie look, like the alternative rocker with like a little bob cut. And, I just feel like I could kind of fall into that. Like that wouldn't be unnatural for me.
You used to have that hair in high school, so yeah.
I did. It wasn't that blonde though. It was dirty dishwasher.
Okay, all right. You can say that.
It was
about
cute
yourself,
though. There
but
probably
okay.
is still that picture. Remember when Katie had that wig that she was wearing for a while, and somehow I got a hold of it, and there's a picture of me wearing this like curled
brown wig,
like brunette wig. Yeah.
Walking through the snow with your luscious brunette locks. Yes, I'll find that picture and put it in show notes. It's gorgeous.
God, I was beautiful. So what did you all think? I'm just curious.
I am not surprised. Well, Sean made the comment at the beginning of this year that he realized that maybe he's actually been new wave all along and he was just in denial. And I feel like I could see you as a new wave queen with your little leg warmers and I can imagine instead of a purse, like your queen carries a Walkman and it's just filled with singles and you eject the cassette deck and start raining singles out on the crowd. Like, I think you have a fun 80s mall queen vibe on this song. Like, it's a little edgy, but it's mostly cute. And I feel like that's really fun. This song also just at the right tempo to dance to, but not so fast that it's going to be unwieldy. And I think you made a good choice in picking something that's very lyrics heavy. I had not considered that when I picked my song, but you're absolutely right. The less dance breaks, the better. That is strategery right there, sir. And I applaud you.
And that's so funny because when Taylor sent me all of your choices, I like my RuPaul index like shuffled through and I was like, I definitely have heard this song on RuPaul's Drag Race. And it's really funny because this was on I wrote it down, season 8. And so like they did it, and it's so funny because literally the queens who were performing it were literally doing like flips, death drops, and so like it's so funny that you said you wouldn't want to dance, and then the time it was done, all they did was dance. Like, so I would love to see you against like a dancing queen and doing your thing next to them. I mean, you did put Kimora Hall on like your like top 3, so maybe there's some like connection there that you would have while you're performing this song. So
Sean's a fashion queen. It's all about the dresses for him.
I always played drum set growing up, so I never had to stand in front of anybody. I could always hide behind stuff. And now as an adult, I found that like it doesn't work for everything to have a bunch of drums in front of you. You have to actually stand there with a guitar every once in a while, and it saddens me, but I'll overcome.
Well, hopefully, Shamala Ding Dong will be the star that you hope that will come from behind the drum set and become the lead singer.
Ooh, that's a great
kick over the drum set and take over the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that imagery.
I love that you're just able to just create the narrative. That's incredible. You're just like, this is the story Shamala Ding Dong's gonna have.
This is good. It's gonna be like if Utica Queen and Steven Tyler came together. All the bandanas, all of those weird mouth things. It's just gotta stop to keep going in this series. I need you to be serious for a second. Utica.
I mean, I think I've watched enough RuPaul that I could be an editor. So storylines, I'm like, I got it. Like, I'm splicing it together now. Like, I see the vision. I see your trajectory, and you could definitely like a very like who did that? Jinx Monsoon, if you haven't seen, she's an early season queen. Um, she definitely had that arc of like the shy, like underdog to winning the crown. So I see that. I see that for. I can't even say your name because it's so good. It's so funny. Yeah, I see that for her. I see it. her path to the crown.
I feel like when I first heard this song, I wasn't sure the character Sean was going to be trying to create. And I think that's part of our steady diet of classic rock growing up, where this just feels agnostic to theme whatsoever. It's just like part of like the lexicon of our world. It's like there's no like flavor to it. It's like vanilla. But then I realized I'm watching the video and Sean's like describing it. I'm like, what am I thinking? This is like the most like it has a very specific flavor that he's obviously going for. You know, it's like, it's right there. That's the character who's singing the song. And I'm like, oh, that is really good. And that does really fit. I almost was having some like body dysphoria. I was like, I can't, like, I couldn't even like imagine myself being this character. Like, I couldn't see, like, I was having trouble even imagining what my body could look like in a different way. And it was weird to like think about Sean like in drag. And I was like, I don't like the Sean Wah Ding Dong character. I'm just like, I couldn't even conceive of it. But like once you just like explain it and like lay it out in front of me, I'm like, there it is. So I think that's really good, and I feel like it's very true to your spirit. I think it's a great, like, as the continuing narrative, as we said, Sean's been new wave this whole time, and I feel like while mine is like a power fantasy, I think it's Sean's being like in some way a true version of himself, and that's great. It's like we don't even have to like talk about the song because like we know the song's great. It's great. I think that there's just enough like stuff going on. There's enough like rises and falls to make an interesting song to dance to, but you're not gonna be like sweating your ass off. You know, like it's a comfortable pace, a nice little stroll where you hopefully don't get eliminated.
Can we talk about
that would be very sad.
Sean just sent us the video of the performance. Can we talk about how wild it is that they had to lip sync this in front of Debbie Harry from Blondie?
Whoa!
Oh yeah,
power move.
Yeah, and also R.I.P. Chi-Chi DeVayne. She passed away last year, unfortunately. But she was great. She was also an All-Stars. And she is a dancing queen through and through. So if you ever want to see what a dancing queen looks like, look up Chi-Chi DeVayne's lip syncs. Because she's amazing.
We'll put this one in show notes. It's an excellent performance.
Which, if Dancing Queen wasn't literally the first song that I had ever picked for this show, I probably would have picked Dancing Queen for this challenge and made a completely different character. But that's unrelated.
Well, Michael, you were so like, it's all somersaults, all flipping, all like everything over the top for this one. I'm like,
so I really appreciate like the idea that you think you're not going to be dancing your ass off for the song, like, because now having seen like the inverse, I'm like, oh man, I want to see
going home, honey.
What you do.
Sashay away.
That would be very sad if the song you actually wanted you had to go home to. Like...
Oh god.
Well, since we're talking about songs that have already been on Drag Race before, I suppose I'll go next.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Taylor, about ruining your dreams.
It's okay. I kind of figured it had, but I don't have the comprehensive knowledge that Michael does. So my drag name would be Tina Spirit, and my song is Grooves in the Heart by Deee-Lite.
Watch out.
So, Tina Spirit, of course, a pun on the popular 90s deodorant Teen Spirit, is an acid rave queen.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
I knew that I wanted to do a 90s queen, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to do a grunge queen or a rave queen. And so I was looking at old fashion photos, and I was like, you know what? There's so much fun stuff in the like 90s dance music rave culture that also has like a little bit of 70s flashback in it with the bell-bottom jeans and everything, that I was like, this could just be kind of fun. And so then I had it narrowed down to a few songs, which we'll talk about in B-sides, but I ultimately had to go with Groove is in the Heart because this song is just so goofy. And I feel like much like this season's Utica Queen, I want to be a comedy queen. Like,
Oh my god.
Tina's Spirit is all about the big performance. It's faces. It's gangly arms. It's the multicolored pacifier in the mouth. You know, it's the light up bracelets. It's all of that goofy, corny 90s rave culture. And Groove is in the Heart.
It's pulling out a scooter for the.
Yes, I'm riding around on a Razor scooter for my entrance look.
A rollerblade. I don't know. I don't actually. Well, anyway.
Groove is in the Heart feels like that moment so much, and not just because of its infamous music video. Like, it has that huge tambourine. Like, it's so high in the mix, it sounds like it's like 20 feet wide. And that lead vocal is just so hypnotic. She's like kind of sultry and kind of sexy, but then when you get into the chorus, she's just going for it. And you have that great vocal sample, that ah in the background. And then, as if it couldn't get any better, you have a verse from Q-Tip at the end of it, because it's like 93. Who else are you going to put on your dance track? A Tribe Called Quest was huge at this point. I think this song is like super goofy and stupid, and a comedy queen could have an absolute blast with these like slide whistles and tambourines and all of these stupid sound effects. I feel like this would be an absolute blast, and I can't wait for Mychal to tell me how wrong I am and how ridiculous the actual lip sync of this song was on Drag Race.
Before we say anything, I'm just glad, Taylor, that you said right off the bat that the slide whistle sounds were stupid and there's lots of weird, goofy sounds in this, because I didn't want to have to be the one to say it. That it really took me out of the vibe. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, the song is silly. I was like, I love this song. I've heard it before. But oh my gosh, like, and then rewatching the music video, I was like, wow, I truly, like, this fever dream was erased from my memory for some reason. But like, it's so funny because when it was on the show, actually, like, it was performed by two Black queens. Actually, funny enough, one of them was the Vixen, which I've talked about, and the other one is Asia O'Hara, who is a pageant queen. But she did all these fun, funky faces that I think, Taylor, if you ever have to lip sync for your life, like, look at her faces, because they're good. And I think you're in the right direction for where you want to go with this, because she won her, like, lip sync, so RuPaul loved it. So keep the funky faces, baby. Oh, did you find it?
I found it.
Taylor's got those fast fingers. He's ready to go.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a second and watch this.
Please do.
These outfits are amazing.
Oh, is this from 2020? Is this recent? No, it's just...
But it is season 10.
It was uploaded in 2020.
Oh, sure. No, you're right.
Yeah. It is fairly recent, though. It's the 10th season, so...
This is... In the beginning, it's hard, because they're both doing pretty good.
Oh, these outfits are...
Carson singing along.
Are a lot.
Okay, so this video brings up a good point that we'll probably cut this out of the show, but who cares? If you, like, have a detachable part of your costume, does it make sense for you to always do it when you're in a lip sync for your life challenge? Or, like, I guess, I don't know, I'm just curious.
No, Sean, that is a question I think of every night before I go to bed. When I dream about lip syncing for my life, I like think about, do I bring outfits that would be good in case I have to lip sync, or do I bring my best outfits and hope I don't have to lip sync in them? Like, right. It is constantly, because then you get a Kimora Hall situation where you're wearing this heavy gown and you can't move, and the person next to you just rips off half of their dress into a leotard.
Or a Denali situation where you came in on ice skates thinking it was going to be a dramatic effect, and then you have to dance in ice skates. In it.
Well, that's what we were thinking about last night with Candy too, and she was in that dress that was, I forget what it was made of, and it was very like fragile. And we were like, oh man, she's gonna have to like lip sync for her life in this dress that is basically almost looks like it was hard to move in.
This is very on topic because I'm saying, if given my druthers of what I'm gonna wear, which of course you don't get to because you have to dress for the challenge, my queen would be in bell bottoms and like a rave top, you know, like it's very danceable clothing. It's made for that.
You'd have to like really exaggerate your moves though.
Well, yeah, because
you could do like a finer point. And sorry, I'm gonna go deep in the fact that I like my brother is a dancer and my wife was a dancer. That like doing those finer movements that you have with having a skin tight top costume is lost because now everything is flowing with you. So I think it would be more difficult to do it like that. That's why Shauna Lana Ding Dong does, you know, blue jeans, leather pants most of the time.
The skin tight outfits. Yeah, no, that's a point I think of a lot when I'm watching Drag Race and having nightmares about being on Drag Race is definitely like, cause like there's some queens that like, if you watch some of their lip syncs, they will literally rip off their clothes while they're doing it. They'll lose wigs. And like, it's one of those things where like, sometimes their passion has worked in their favor. Other times it definitely is like, if you can't keep your wig on, what are you even doing? Like, like, come on now. So it's like, that's such, especially with the challenges, because the one that we just watched, with Asia O'Hare and, the Vixen, they made those out of, paper was the challenge. And so I love Asia's. The clown outfit is just amazing, which I also think, Taylor, would be in your favor for the song if you dressed in like a wacky kind of clown outfit or something with the funny faces. Could really be helpful with you winning this lip sync.
I mean, I think any outfit from the music video would be suitable drag for this song.
Very true. Especially, I would love to see you in some booty shorts. Like, that'd be great. Like, let's make this happen. I'm coming back to Atlanta eventually. We'll make this happen.
You know, break the internet.
I'm ready for that. When that happens, Michael, you gotta let us know.
I'll take videos, pictures.
We could get so many patrons on Patreon. Just not in the wrong way, but because.
I'm so glad you're exploiting my body for $1 a month, Sean. Thank you.
Hey, you put yourself at $1 a month. I was gonna say like 10 or 15.
I mean, I'll be very happy if this leads into any of you doing your first time in drag. Like, I will be so happy.
The final frontier.
Well, Michael, that just leaves you. What's your drag name and what did you bring us this week?
So my drag name is not too much of a pun. I really love a good pun, though. One of my favorite punny drag names is Roz Dressfilez. So, but like, unfortunately, obviously that name is taken. But mine, I wanted to go in a fun, gender neutral kind of vibe because I am gender neutral in a sense. Like, I use they them pronouns and I'm non-binary. So I was originally thinking of just using my name, Mychal, because I feel like it's a fun, like, share type of thing. But I came up with the name Babe as it because one, I love the movie Babe as a kid during the
90s. I was like, there's no way they're gonna say
it's such a good movie. I mean, That Will Do Pig will be my slogan for my
That's your entrance catchphrase?
Exactly. Like, but I also just love the affectionate, like, kind of gender neutral, like, name of it. So, also it fits with the aesthetic I want to go with because my choice this week was from Marina and the Diamonds, now Marina, as they go by, but it is the song Prima Donna.
The world, I can't help that I need it all. The prima donna life, the rise and and fall. You say that I'm kinda difficult, but it's always someone else's fault. Got you wrapped around my finger.
So, this song I really love. I was talking to a friend about this challenge, and I was telling him like what some of my top choices were, and I really love because I told him this was one of them, and he said he wanted to play this at his wedding. So I really appreciate like the kind of campy nature of the song. I really wanted something that was like very poppy and uplifting because I want to. If I'm a queen, I want to be a fashion queen, but like second is dancing queen. So I want to be able to like get the party moving, have RuPaul laugh at like something I do. But I also want to look beautiful doing this. So like her aesthetic in this music video is basically what I would want as a drag queen. Just like this like rich bitch who may have murdered her husband is kind of the vibe I want to go for. And when the police show up, I'm just beautiful and I could probably kill again, but they'll never know. Like, so similar to you, Tyler, of like kind of like this power play of like femininity, but also I like the name Babe because I also could be masculine in the sense that the masculine form of what I would want to do is very preppy, kind of Vampire Weekend-esque, where I go to Cape Cod and I also murder my husband while I'm there. so pretty much.
Michael just hates men, is what we're learning.
I mean, here we are. I don't hate men. I just love their money more, is what we're really getting at here. So that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. And also, I told Taylor this when I was texting him, but I literally had a dream of lip syncing to this song like years ago. So I feel like when I was looking at what you guys have done past, I saw the Electra Heart. Like I forget. It might have been Bubblegum Bitch that you guys have used on the show before. And I was like, prima donna, that's it. It was like literally like RuPaul herself was like giving me prophetic dreams that I needed to use this song. And it hasn't been on the show yet, which I think is wild because it's like a good song. It's just so good.
This song definitely has big Drag Race vibes. It has those big bassy synths that they love. And I love this character that you've invented, this kind of like serial Black Widow. I'm imagining like the LA personality is the like pink nightie with a white fur coat that we see in the video. And then the East Coast, like Hamptons personality is like tennis skirt and a pastel polo. And you beat your husband to death with a tennis racket. Like
exactly.
Which isn't too dissimilar to Lana Del Rey. But like a sort of like inverse of like she just can't quit him. This is like, oh, I could definitely quit him.
yes.
Honestly, any minor inconvenience, I'll probably kill him. So like, literally,
Lana doesn't know how to leave. Babe is already out the door with the money in hand.
But still dates problematic people regardless. Just that's the problem. That's where they share similar people.
Yeah, they just have different coping mechanisms.
Yeah, I mean, the anti-capitalist in me is like anyone with money is problematic. So I mean, I want the money. It's just that they're terrible people. So
you have money. I want your money.
Listen, that's praxis, baby.
Exactly. I'm a problem solver first and foremost.
I think the fun part about this song, kind of like some of the other songs we've talked about tonight, is that it gives opportunity for lots of funny faces, particularly because she does a bunch of pitch shifting on her voice. And so it almost sounds like there are different voices, even though it's all her. So I can see you kind of like alternating between like sweet and nasty in your performance here, which would be very fun. I think this is a great pick.
And I think I've actually, I joke about this. I would be a theater kid if I wasn't raised Catholic, is what I always joke about. So like like the Catholic shame kind of stops me. So like I think like Catholic shame and guilt has stopped me from reaching my true theater kid potential. So I joke that's why I'm a film student, because it's like the next low rung on that regard. But yeah, so like I forget where I was going with this, but like basically,
It's okay. This is therapy. It's fine.
yeah. So like basically, I've definitely practiced this in my room a few times. I already have certain moves I would do at certain times, and I definitely know like when to play to the crowd, when to like I have definitely practiced this before, and I'd be very excited to perform it with somebody else who I'm competing against because there's definitely some lines where when she's blaming somebody else, I'm definitely like pointing at the loser next to me to go home. So I'm not a dancing person. I mean, after a few drinks, yes, but like, but like, I think like if I can unleash this persona that's sitting there, I will definitely have fun dancing and making faces to this song, especially.
I'm definitely really into Marina. I mean, I think I'm gonna check out the rest of her works because I'm definitely smitten. I definitely would let her kill me. Let her marry me and then kill me.
She's a babe. Like, she is so hot. Like, it's one of those definitely fine lines as someone who's bisexual where I question, do I want to be her or be with her? Is like my constant state of being when I look at her. But I think the answer is both for me. And so that's why I'll make my drag persona off of her.
But Taylor, you said this is pitch shifted? So like she's not like, because I was noting, I'm like, wow, there seems to be a pretty big range here. Because it's like,
I think some of it is synthetic, at least some.
Because I was like, wow, I love how bassy this gets. That's like my favorite part, and then just being able to shoot right back up. But I'm still like enamored by it, regardless of whether or not there's like production stuff in the background. I still just like love the effect it has, regardless. But this is sick. This is super love this song, but I also really just love Babe. I feel like Babe and Shauna Ding Dong would get, like I already said, they would get along together great. I feel like they have very matching personas. I feel like a lot of our, I kind of feel like Taylor's is the odd one out, only because it's just so like, like more like cloud-like is kind of the vibe I got from it. But like otherwise, I feel like we'd all get along. I kind of like all our different vibes we have going on. It's incredible that there's so many different styles. I like it.
Yeah. Tyler and Sean, do you want to make an alliance if we ever get on RuPaul's Drag Race? to
don't
kick
vote me
Taylor
out.
No.
I feel like
Taylor, you can join.
it's hard to do it on the show. I felt like for the first time this week, you could see there might have been like a couple of little alliances. Like when Lala and Simone came together, I was like, Dream Team. When Denali and Rose were on a team, I was like, Dream Team.
And then there was everyone else.
Candy and Tina and Gottmik, I was like, okay, we'll see how this works. But I wasn't surprised that they did great. Like, I don't know. It didn't surprise me.
Yeah, it was so funny when they said Dream Girls and Mean Girls, and I was like, they do know the Dream Girls broke up in that musical, right? Like, they did not succeed. But there's always like a 3-person clique during a season, and then eventually they have to go home, like some of them, so it will break up eventually.
Maybe Tina watched it when she was with Graham Norton. So she never saw the end.
Yes, I found that out, and I was like, this is wild. Like, seeing the pictures of them together, I was like, this feels too much. Like, there's a break in the matrix. I do not know how to, like, understand this information.
I thought this song was amazing. I love the EDM aspect to it. Because my song didn't have any of that, and I feel like there's a huge place for having, like, mega dancey songs. And in any drag race. Yeah, and it does. Like, that's what I mean. You could put this on in 2021, and I think it would still, like, it has a great lasting power. Yeah, I think, like, 2 drinks, I'm into this one. Like, you'll see me, like, standing up singing this one.
I don't even need 2 drinks. I'd do that sober, baby. That's how hot it is.
two drinks and we're all murdering our husbands. We'll just
Yeah, no, that's what I'm gonna need the drinks for. No, you're right.
a drink or two.
All right, and now it's time for notable B-sides. These were songs that were so close to being picked, but they it up. So I feel like I'm never gonna get to say that again. Anybody got some notable B-sides?
Oh boy, do I. So I mentioned that I had two drag personas that I was choosing between. Other things for Tina Spirit were Be My Lover by LaBouche, Love Fool by the Cardigans, and The Sign by Ace of Base. But then I'm glad I didn't pick this queen because this queen is a little too close to Sean's queen. But my grunge queen, her name was going to be Alanis Morissette. And her songs were going to be either You Oughta Know by Alanis or Just a Girl by No Doubt.
Ooh, I like those. Those are also good.
Yeah, I had some B-sides because I actually really wanted to not pick a white artist, but this song spoke too much to me that I just had to pick Marina. And anyways, I'll give her like in spirit. That song has like a lot of like really great black music vibes to it. So I'll give her a pass on that one. But I was going to maybe pick Lizzo's Excuse Me was mine. Mika's Big Girl, Drake's Hold On, We're Going Home, Harry Styles' Adore You, and LaRue's Bulletproof were kind of some of my top.
Bulletproof!
Yeah. Because also I had an alternative drag name, and I kind of do like this one. This one's a little bit more punny, but Moo La La was another drag name I was thinking of. So still on the rich theme. Like we're still rich and wonderful, but yeah.
Love it.
I had Waking Up by Cara Cara Benito. I had Man Eater by Hall & Oates. God is a Woman by Ariana Grande. Career Boy by Dorian Electra. Levitating by Dua Lipa. And then I almost picked it. It was right in there. I had my finger on the button. And Midnight Sky by Miley Cyrus.
Ooh,
those are some good ones.
I was thinking about it.
I don't have any other names, even though I feel like I really want to challenge myself and come up with at least 2 or 3 other ones. But I do have some B-sides. So my number 1 B-side was It's My Life by No Doubt, which is a cover of Toto, I think. I don't remember who did the original one, but it's a cover. It's hilarious, Michael, when you were talking about killing your husband, because I was like, this whole music video is about killing your husband.
Yes.
So I'll roll with that. I think Thank You Next by Ariana Grande would be a fantastic song for Shauna Lana. Ding Dong. Do you have to say the whole thing, or can you kind of just shorten it out?
Nope, it's like a Tribe Called Quest. That's the whole thing.
And then my power ballad would be Rolling in the Deep by Adele. Like, if I really had to save myself, I could go... Like, that song and Adele's performance style strike me as speaking to the Park and Bark queen. And that's who I am. So...
I just always think of the SNL sketch where they're at Thanksgiving dinner and they start arguing and then everybody starts singing Hello and is progressively in more and more Adele drag. I feel like
that's a really good skit.
It's very appropriate. Well, it's the end of the episode, and I guess now it's time to bring back my co-hosts. Tyler, if people want to strut their stuff on the runway with you, where can they do that?
With the Lady Umami. You can find my design and illustration work at rudepets.club. And as always, you can find me on socials as Rudepets Club on Instagram and Twitter.
Sean, if people want to team up with you for the Maxi Challenge, where can they do that?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at TellySean.
And Michael, if they want to untuck with you, where can they do that?
Oh man, I truly appreciate my username. It's the fake Michael, underscores in between each thing. And yeah, you'll probably write it out in the comments because my name is spelled weird. So I will say, to save time, I won't spell it out for you right now. But yeah. And
be on the lookout for Michael's potentially forthcoming research on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh Lord, don't put that in the air. Don't put that out for me.
If nothing else, there will be very informed hot takes on Twitter, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure.
And before you sashay away. You can follow me on the socials at TC Olmstead. All of these songs will stay on the No Repeat podcast playlist. And thanks again to our guest, Mychal Shanks, for joining us this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We will be back to slay another day on another episode of No Repeat.